make it a fraud.
Yep, you are reading that title correctly. I brought 3 Lord of Skulls to a tournament. There's gotta be some secret sauce, right? There's some little competitive tech that no one has seen on Goonhammer or BCP, and I'm absolutely about to share all the goo with you today. Unfortunately, no. This list I brought because it was funny. I've been playing in tournaments for a little bit up to this point. I was hopping in and out through various different tournaments in my local game scene using mostly Creations of Bile. I love Creations of Bile. As a CSM player, I really wanted to play something that was significantly more elite. I know, more elite in Power Armor, but I just wanted to roll a minimum amount of dice and just have a lot of fun and maybe meme a little bit upon the way. And there's nothing quite as memey as a large Khorne war engine with an immense trash can dumpy in the back.
Hey guys, this is the future editor speaking here. Just a quick note about this video. This video was recorded before the World Eaters Codex dropped, so the datasheets have significantly changed, mostly for the better. I talk about it a little in the end of this video. Long story short, datasheets are very good. 505 points is very painful and makes me want to roll a 6 on my Deadly Demise. Pain.
When I brought this to tournament, I could really only play it 2 ways. Berserker Warband and Soulforge Warpack or something or other. It's the Ironstorm version of CSM. Soulforge Warpack. Between the two, the funnier one is frankly the World Eaters one. The World Eaters one basically consists of these 3 units, Angron and then some Jackals. And the whole idea is that you rush Angron across the board and then let him die like a missile, and then you just res him with the Khorne Lord of Skulls. It's a pretty good rule. It's also pretty cheeky because hypothetically you basically get an infinite amount of Angron, and as long as the opponent decides to either dedicate resources to Angron, you can always res him. So then they basically have to leave him alive, in which case he's just going to run amok into their back lines and wherever he wants to go. It's a cool list. One problem, the Lord of Skulls is actually pretty bad in that list. The biggest issue with the Lord of Skulls as of the tournament was the fact that it moves 8 inches. 8 inches isn't a lot. It doesn't get you basically anywhere. More importantly than that, at this point, it didn't have the super heavy war engine keyword allowing it to move through walls. In other words, the 8 inches that you had to move around walls and to around terrain and to make sure you're not ending up tagging any walls, it's virtually impossible to do with this footprint. It's too big, to be honest. I ended up then looking at the CSM version. The CSM version loses out the Angron, it loses out on the Feel No Pain, but what it does have is a 1 CP going through walls stratagem. That was big for mobility, and I think in a list that I wanted to highlight the fact that I brought a Thomas the Tank Engine choo-choo train of Lord of Skulls, that was the one. I ended up building a list. I took out Angron. Obviously I couldn't run Angron, and so I needed a honorary 4th member, so I brought a Knight Tyrant because I thought, why not? At this point we're running 3 Lord of Skulls, let's just double down and run 4 big things, Painting Lord of Skulls is kind of painful, I'm going to be honest. Not just because there's a lot of trim on this bad boy and there's a lot of material to go over, but because of the fact that it kind of just hurts to hold. If you hold it at any angle, you go, it's very spiky. Nevertheless, we did manage to get this built and ready in time. We in fact painted all of these in under a week and got it all packed up ready for the tournament, threw in the cultists, threw in the Nurglings. That was essentially the list. Oh, we ran one sorcerer that could allow these to reroll hits, but didn't have a lone op or anything. So anyone who just brought a whirlwind just auto won against my list, which is incredibly funny. And we went to tourney.
Oh, this is great. Hello.
Can't believe
Oh.
being turned into content.
Hey guys, future me again here. This time talking to you about the tourney, which I am very proud to announce I actually went 2-3 at. Now, technically there was a bye, so, you know, it is 1-4 if you're gonna be like that, but just between you and me, let's just, it was 2-3, okay? Good. The matchups were pretty fresh. If I'm being honest, it also kind of shows how green I am as a Warhammer player still. First round was against Emperor's Children, which I have played against one time. Second round was against Eldar, which I've never played against. Third round was against Deathwatch, which I've never played against. Fourth was my bye. Fifth, Chaos Knights. I've never played against Chaos Knights. It was a learning experience. Surprisingly enough, it wasn't really the list that felt like the problem. The list actually was surprisingly good. It's skew, granted, but I mean, who could have imagined with 4 T13 units? I feel like the problem was more so myself. My decision making as a player was just simply not there, and my room temperature IQ just couldn't compete with what was going on in the heads of many of the talented people at this qualifiers. For instance, I can cite this example from the Chaos Knights match. Absolutely great guy. He sets up his turn, just turn one, doing some staging, you know, doing a little bit of actions, but he also peeks out one of his units just to contest a point. Oh, you know, it's just a single War Dog Brigand just sitting on this point, OC8. He clearly wants me to peek out with one of my large units, contest, blow it off the point, get onto the point myself, and then turn 2, he can just simply fall on it with all of his stage and blow it up. It's very obviously a bait. In fact, it's so much a bait that I could smell the chum in the water if I was the shark and he was the fisherman. So naturally, I just took the bait.
Amazing. A booby trap that actually catches boobies.
Now, with that all being said, the tournament itself, pretty fun. It was over the course of 2 days, and I got to stay the night at Dave's, which is fantastic. And on top of that, the Lord of Skulls list seemed to be a bit of a hit. Everyone just found it funny that 4 big things was what they were going up against, and a lot of people seemed to enjoy it, which, you know, hey, that puts a smile on my face, even if I'm getting blown off the board. I do think there's a lot to be said about this list, though. A lot of the issues about this list mostly relate to low mobility, low activation counts, and then also wide access for most armies to +1 to wound when it comes to survivability. Now, the thing is, with the new codex for World Eaters, a lot of those problems are actually fixed.
Let's talk a little bit about post the tournament and also the new codex. The new codex, I'm going to be honest, for World Eaters is fantastic. It's absolutely great. The actual data sheet itself is incredibly good, the Lord of Skulls. We're talking 12 inches of movement. We're talking being able to crash through walls. We're talking about rapid fire on all your guns. We're talking about a 6-attack strike profile, which is basically identical to before, if not slightly buffed. They're absolutely fantastic at melting stuff. I was having some fun at a local meetup running just 3 Lord of Skulls, Angron, and just some Chaos Spawn. Still, it has its weaknesses, but the things which I struggled with the list originally, primarily being movement. Actions are still an issue, but when it comes to movement, being able to crash through walls, being able to move through stuff, 12 inches of movement, it's really good. Like, I gotta keep on saying this. This is good. This is like genuinely good. The problem with 3 Lord of Skulls in the World Eaters Codex, and why I don't think people will run it, is that it's 505 points. When I was running it in a tournament, it was 450. Each individual Lord of Skulls got a 55-point boost. Rough. There's a world that you can just bring 2. I think going for the meme of 3 Lord of Skulls, it's really hard to make a list work. I'm still trying to figure that out. I think there is something though. We'll have to see.
Thank you so much for watching. Quick 4 shout-outs. We got to mention my opponents for the tournament, those being Joe, Hayden, Nathan, and Greg. All of them were super awesome people to play against and also super patient with me. I kind of just showed up with 4 giant war machines and said, yeah, this is going to be my list. Hayden and Nathan in particular are going to be going to Atlanta since they qualified for Worlds. If anyone is in Atlanta at the time, feel free to go say hi to them. They're really nice people and don't bite unless you throw a Lord of Skulls at their face, in which case I can't promise anything. Besides that, we really want to thank you for the support that we've seen, not only for hopefully this video, but also for our previous video. Don't you guys worry, we will be returning to the 40K in Japan series with our next video, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. With that in mind, stay safe, stay frosty, and don't forget that if you're losing in 40K, you can always tank shock with a Lord of Skulls directly at someone's face. Bye-bye.